here. You have a child with autism that needs to potty train, and I am your gal to help you to it. So welcome. Awesome. Let's dive right into it. I hop right to it because we got lots to go over today, and I want to coach as many of you as possible. If you don't know who I am, my name is Michelle Rogers. I'm an autism mom and life coach. I run a program called Champions for Our Children. It's a group coaching program for parents of children with autism. In this program, we help you solve for lots of things autism, and the number one problem everyone comes to me with, and we have a 100% success rate in the masterclass for solving, is the theme for today, which is potty training. So we're going to dive right into the steps you need to take to get your child potty trained. I'm very proud of our stats that anyone who joins the masterclass comes out with a 100% success rate of potty training. Your child comes in with diapers, you leave the program with the child actually using the potty and is in underwear, and I'm really proud of that. We do, besides potty training, we also handle communication, problem solving for problem behaviors, picky eating, eloping, you name it, we cover it. I am going to share some information on the masterclass because you guys have already been sending me some emails asking about working together. But yeah, so let's dive in. So before we get cracking, I am just going to go over some housekeeping so you guys know how this is going to work. I have disabled the chat, so I get very distracted. So when I'm talking and if I start seeing like chatter, I get a little distracted. So if you want to ask questions, there's a Q&A box on the bottom. In fact, I'm opening mine already. You can put your questions in the Q&A and we will answer them. Jen and I can use the chat, so we'll be able to talk to you. Maybe when videos are rolling, we can do that. I'd love to actually just kind of get to know you guys and just kind of give you some shout outs. But if you have any specific questions for me, you're going to use the Q&A. I'm here today with Jen. She's my assistant. She's going to help with the giveaway we're going to do today. I'm pretty excited about that. And we're going to make sure that everyone who signed up for this workshop is going to leave with a chance to watch the replay, as well as get the slides from this workshop and my free gift, which will be my toilet training data sheet. It's a part of my program. You will get a copy of this as well. We're going to talk about that today. If you want to be coached today, so that means that basically I'm going to go through all of the material on the skills and steps it takes to potty train a child with autism. At the end of that, I am going to ask anyone who wants to be coached to raise their hand. If you go down on the bottom, there's a raise hand button. You can raise your hand if you actually want to come up live and be coached. To be coached, how it's going to work is that you are going to have a good microphone. You're going to have good internet. You're going to have a camera so I can see your beautiful face, and you're not going to be distracted. You're not driving. You're not running around chasing kids. I want us to all be able to get the most out of communicating with each other. So if you can do this and you'd like to be coached, I want you to raise your hand. That button is on the bottom. And if you're too shy to raise your hand, no worries. You can just use the Q&A. Okay, so other than that, we're going to be going through these slides efficiently and effectively because I want to get to coaching as many of you as possible. If you stay to Q&A, we are going to be doing a raffle for a free session with me. And I think that's it. Oh, and I just wanted to say, because this comes up too, as it's such a shocker. If you're new to my world, I am a straight shooter. I am a mother, or a caretaker. Well, I'm not a caretaker. I'm a mother of a child with autism, but I curse. So I think some people get a little surprised by that. I'm very passionate. This is part of, I guess, my identity at this point. I don't try and stifle it. But I am a mother or a caretaker, just like you, of a child with autism. I've created solves for my child, and I want to help you guys to be able to do the same for yours. And I am 100% unapologetically, authentically me. So that's what you're going to get today. So do not get offended. And if the cursing bothers you, I'm not your girl. So, but I hope that doesn't, because I'd rather the greater good of getting the result of potty training than being offended by the way I speak. But to each his own. So, all right, so let's get cracking here. I am going to start sharing my screen. We're going to go through the potty power process. We're going to go over the agenda, all that good stuff. So let's go. All righty. So the agenda for today, I'm going to share a video I created about our story. My daughter, Juliana, was diagnosed moderate to severe on the spectrum at the age of 2. She had language and lost it. Then we were actually able to teach her sign language. She potty trained with a sign. That was the sign she used for potty training. She started to make word approximations. She started to speak. She went from the most restrictive autism classroom, a 614, when she was 3 years old, to where she is today. She's about to wrap up her 4th grade. Her fourth grade general education classroom, first time ever. She was integrated from kindergarten to third. This is her first year in a general education classroom with minimal supports. You wouldn't even know Juliana was on the spectrum if I didn't tell you at this point. And I never thought that was possible. I want to share my story with you guys so you can see how that came to be. In addition to that, I'm going to talk about a philosophy I share with my master classers. It's called the Big Three. These are the 3 skills, the foundational skills that I believe every child on the autism spectrum needs, no matter where they land, to have a chance at a life of independence. I want to talk about potty myths. There are a lot of potty myths floating around as to why you believe that you can't potty train your child. I'm going to talk about what you need to potty train your child. Instead of believing the potty myths, I want to create a strong potty parent mindset. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit about working with me. We're going to do the giveaway, which is always fun. We're going to do Wheel of Names. And then we're going to get to the Q&A part. Again, if you'd like to be coached, you're going to have good audio, have good internet. You're not going to be driving or be distracted. You'll have a camera and you'll come on and I'm going to coach you. I want to hear exactly what you've done for potty training. And I want to give you the steps on how we would solve for it. All right, so let's get cracking. You are in the right place today. If you have a child with autism or suspect autism and need to potty train, they are mild, moderate, or severe on the spectrum. They are verbal or pre-verbal. They have multiple diagnoses. You've tried and failed many times. Not only will potty training be possible, it's going to be easy and I'm going to make it fun. Not just for the child, I want to make it fun for you too, right? If you're not into it, they're not going to be into it. And I deliberately cast a super wide net with this slide because I don't want to give you any reason for you to feel like you're not where you need to be and or you have a situation, a unicorn that can't be potty trained. I always say to my parents, if your child can work a phone, work an iPad, they can also learn how to flush a toilet, okay? So I'm going to make this fun. I'm going to make this easy for you, but I want you to know that if you're in the right place, if you fall into this, and I made it a wide net on purpose because you're all meant to be here. If you have a child that you want to potty train, I'm going to help you do that. All right, so let's watch that story. Sorry, guys. I remember when I got pregnant with my daughter, I felt so grateful and so blessed. And my life up until that point had been pretty rocky. I'd had a lot of bumps and bruises along the way. And I finally thought that I was turning the corner and God was blessing me with this beautiful gift of a child. And yes, finally something was going my way. And then when she was born, she was just absolutely perfect. I had all of these dreams and expectations for her. I thought of all the things like what she was going to do. Yeah, good. Right after her first birthday, I started to notice her behavior changes. He went from, saying that. He was obsessed with Dora the Explorer, Mama, Dada. She was saying it all. Good girl, say that. Hit all of her milestones up to that point. She walked at 1. She was eating solid. She just, she looked really good. And then I just remember her, it felt almost overnight or very quickly where her demeanor just changed. She went from this super happy baby to crying and tantrums, frustrated all the time. And I remember saying to my mom one day during one of the scenes, she said, where did my happy baby go? But I didn't think anything past it. I think I was kind of not ready to fathom that something could be off, even though maybe the telltale signs were there. Gotta get dressed. Gotta get dressed, honey. Time to get dressed. She started to lose the words that she had gained. She wasn't saying mama anymore. She wasn't saying that. She just seemed really disconnected from us. Instead of playing with her toys, she would take them, dump them all out of her toy box, and just start twisting them around her hands aimlessly with no intended purpose. Really kind of in denial about it. And then I remember one day we were in the middle of the store, and all of a sudden out of nowhere, she just started screaming and yelling like somebody had slapped her. I don't even know what problem. was. And I was so mortified. I didn't even know what to do. I was so scared. I literally just left the half full cart in the store, picked her up, and just ran out of there. Never went to that store again. I just didn't even know what to think. And that was probably the first time that really kind of stung for me that maybe something is wrong. They diagnosed her. They didn't diagnose her right away. They said that she was too young for a diagnosis. I didn't even know what they meant when they said that. I was diagnosed with what? I just had no idea what they were talking about. And then they said, we'll come back in if you're not seeing progress. And so, okay, and a couple months later, I'm watching these speech therapists play with her on the floor. I'm not seeing any progress and felt like she was getting a little worse. And then we went for our 2-year-old wellness visit. And the doctor said that she was behind if she wasn't using 20 words with intent. And that was probably just a knife to my heart. At that point, I really couldn't deny that something was up with her anymore. So then I called the county back in, and she was diagnosed on the spectrum. And I remember that day, and it was worst days of my life. It was my darkest hour. I could easily say that as a mother, as a woman, as just a human being, was probably one of the hardest times I had ever gone through. And I remember being so happy with God, so thankful to be so pleased doing this for her, practicing this beautiful gift He had given me. And for a while there, I struggled. I struggled to figure out what this meant, or what we were going to do, or how this was going to define her. All those dreams I had for her future were just completely shattered, and I just had no idea what was going to happen next. And I went from just hopeful to just complete blank when I thought about the future. One night I was thinking, I'm going to die one day, and who's going to care for her one day? And something about that thought just snapped me out of my depression and my anger and my fear and said, listen, we got to get to work there. I promised that when she was born, I was going to be the best mother I could be to her. And that promise hasn't changed. In fact, she needs me more now than ever, not less. She needs me now more than ever. And I didn't know at the time what we were capable of, or what having those changes, that mindset shift for me was going to do. But I wanted to know that at the end of every night, I could look myself in the mirror with confidence and say, did you do everything you could, Michelle, to give her the best possible life? And if the answer was yes, then that was a good day. And I wanted the answer to be yes, 100%. And no matter where the cards fell, I know I could leave this earth saying I gave her everything I had, no regrets. And as I've navigated this world with her and walked away that day after having that thought, I really just grabbed the bull by the horns. I need to be a computer system every day. I'm not a special education master's degree teacher. I don't know I never had any training again, but I knew that I was going to learn whatever I needed to learn to be really strong for her. And Juliana lost all of her language. Cheerios? You want Cheerios? I want Cheerios. Okay. She was nonverbal when she was diagnosed. She was like, what? Okay. Well, we taught her sign language. Show me. Show me. Then she went from sign language to word approximations. Then she started to speak. She went from the most restrictive preschool environment. She's in a 6-month school, most restrictive preschool, special education preschool environment. Now where she is almost 8 years old. She's in the 2nd grade class in Jesuit school, integrated class with typical cues. She speaks beautifully now. What did you like about the troll experience?
She has a personality. She has conversation skills. There's still things that we need to work on, but for the most part, her future went from black to now having possibilities. And none of that could have happened had I not kind of gotten out of my own way and really hit the ground running and started to take action for her. And I can't say that I can do that for every parent I coach, but what I can tell them is I will have them feeling like I did, looking myself in the mirror, you looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, I missed everything I could do for her today. I have no regrets. And whatever happens, happens. It's really for us as parents to know we fulfilled the duty that we promised when we had these children, which is to be the best versions of ourselves, to live, to raise these children, and help now hundreds of mothers, coach them one-on-one to do the same things I did, to help them to be strong, to help them to develop plans where we're seeing constant progress. This is what I want to do. I want to give you the chance that Juliana's had. I want to give you every opportunity to give your child that kind of
Today is a day for happy birthday, love you.
I'm gonna have to update this video because she looks older now. Now it's like it's so. I'll never like. I'll love this video forever because I'll feel like, oh my God, this was us. It's the story of us. And I always encourage my family in the program. I want you not just to record the good times. I want you to record when things are tough, so that when we work together and you go back and you look, you're gonna be like, my God, that was us. And this is us now. And I never thought in that moment of that tantrum when she was screaming. And I mean, it took me 45 minutes one day to realize she wanted a hot dog, that could also be this, reading her birthday card. So I know sometimes I get emotional. I've watched it about 1,000 times, but I just love it. And I'm gonna have to update it. So she's 10 now. So I want you guys to see where she is right now. All right, so before we get into all of the tips and tricks I'm going to give you today, the information and all information in my workshops are not intended to serve as a substitute for consultation with a medical or behavioral professional. Only qualified professionals who know and work with a child on an ongoing basis can adequately assess and supervise a child's program. I always recommend including a board-certified behavior analyst on a child or client's team. This is especially important if a child is in danger of hurting themselves or others. So my big disclaimer, I'm not a doctor. I'm giving you my professional advice. Professional, meaning AKA I've lived this life. I've never been formally trained in behavioral therapy. I am not a special education teacher. I am a parent like you. So I'm giving you advice from one parent to another, but of course, run it by your doctor. I am not a doctor. Okay, so before we get into the actual potty processes, I want to talk about the big three. And this is a philosophy that I run my program with. And it's the belief of that I believe that every child needs these three foundational skills for a chance at a life of independence. If your child has these three skills, they have a really amazing, wonderful, tremendous shot at a life of independence. And the first skill is communication. The second one is problem behavior at 0 or close to 0. And the third is why we're all here today, which is potty training. And we're going to dive right into where you're at mentally now. What are some of the things that you're believing about potty training that's made this impossible for you? That's made it that it seems like you can't land the goal of potty training. So you might be thinking that your child needs to be verbal to potty train. In fact, I just fielded a couple of questions in the Q&A about this. Your child does not need to be potty trained. And you may be thinking, if they can't talk, how will they tell me they need to go? Another myth you might be thinking is that your child's too severe on the spectrum to be able to potty train. And if they can't follow simple instructions, they're lost in their own world. They can't comprehend, they can't potty train. You might also be thinking that if my child won't sit on the potty, that they can't be potty trained. And if they're just running around, I can't get their attention, I can't get them to sit, and therefore they can't learn to potty train. You also might be thinking, my child doesn't care if they're dirty or they're not interested in going. And if they've got autism, they're pre-verbal, lots of energy, and just sit in soiled diapers all day long, then they just don't care. And I can't train a child who doesn't care. Or you might be thinking, My child will hold pure poop for hours until a pull-up is put back on and they won't go. They put themselves in terrible physical discomfort and hold it till they get the relief of the pull-up. So I can't let this continue, and therefore they can't potty train. You might also be thinking, I don't know how to teach a child with autism how to potty train, right? I signed up for the neurotypical experience just like you guys. When autism came, I didn't think I had the skills to do this. I had clear ideas of how I would parent a neurotypical child, but a child with autism, I don't have those skills to teach. I'm ill-equipped. When you believe these potty myths, the action or inaction you're taking looks like this. I don't do anything, right? Because I feel like if I have one or all of these myths in my mind that I believe, right? I call them potty myths to really show you that we're going to myth bust them today, but they're really just thoughts I believe about myself and my child, and I believe them over and over and over again. And when I really believe all of those shitty thoughts, I'm not doing anything potentially to actual potty training. Oh, I'm putting potty training off. They're not ready. Oh, look, I don't have these skills. They can't do it. You're half-assing it. I'm kind of trying, but I'm really not. They're still in diapers, right? I'm not committed to the process. I may be trying and quitting many times, right? I try for a day. It doesn't go well. It doesn't go like where I think it should go. And then I quit. And then I try again in a couple months, still doesn't go. And then I quit. I come up with excuses. Oh, they must not have been ready, right? This is what it looks like when I believe those potty shit thoughts, those potty myths. I'm leaning on the school or others to do this for me because I don't have the education. I don't know I don't know anything about autism. I do not have the skill set to help this child. Or you might be also focusing on verbal language or other goals first. And I actually don't mind. I don't have an issue necessarily with working on another goal if potty training is like where the only reason I would work maybe potentially on another goal is if, let's say, the child's like 2 or 3, and that's like the age where we really got to see those potty readiness signs. But if I'm focusing on other things, meaning that if I get these things, then I can potty train, then I call bullshit on that, because that's me just putting off what I believe isn't possible to begin with. And I try to focus on other things of, oh, if I could solve for these things, and then potty training will be so much easier. And that's just your brain just trying to avoid the whole process to begin with. And the results that you have when you take these kinds of actions, your child is still in diapers. You feel like a failure as a parent and nothing changes for the child. The lack of results here spills over to other areas. So if you're one of these families who are like, okay, I'm just going to focus on something else because I just don't think they have the capability, right? Then you're going to start thinking also that they're not going to, when things don't go your way, that you can't teach communication. They don't have the capability of communication. Next thing you know, they don't have a capability to stop tantruming or showing problem behaviors. When I start believing shit about potty training, it spills over into other areas. So when you think, oh, I'm just going to go work on the things I think that they can do, when you get your first fail, you go right back to why the same reason they can't potty train is the same reason they can't get these skills either. Steps to potty training any child are the same. Okay, I'm going to say that again. The steps to potty training any child, neurotypical or on the spectrum, are the same. It's all about the thoughts we have that decide the outcome we'll have with potty training. And I always talk in my program, especially when it comes to communication and potty training too, fuck that, for both of them, our thoughts have to be in alignment with the results we want for potty training. And one of the biggest things I tell my parents is, if you don't believe it, I want to just tell you, I'm going to give you the thought, presume confidence. Every time I talk, you'll see when I coach people today, I'll be coaching people today, and I guarantee somebody's going to have the thought that my child doesn't understand instructions, doesn't understand what I'm saying. And every time I've been able to prove that wrong. So if you could just go off of, you need a thought to cling to believe that potty training is possible, presume confidence. I want you to look throughout their day and tell me when there's moments when you know exactly what you're saying, even if they're pre-verbal. You have to be there. You have to start putting yourself in alignment to getting potty training done, and believing all those myths are just going to keep you in diapers longer. This is Mary. Her son was 7 when we first worked together. He was pre-verbal and in diapers. Within 2 weeks of working with me, he was fully potty trained, and within a month, he said mama for the first time. He was 7 years old. This is possible for your baby, no matter where they land on the spectrum. All right, so now how are we going to do this? We got to start working on it right here. And this is the most important. If you come away with anything today, I hope this is it. And it is the potty power parent mindset. This is a picture from the movie The Matrix. I don't know if you guys remember it. It's a movie from probably about 20 years ago. And in this scene, there's this little child that looks like a little Buddha, and it looks like he's bending a spoon with his mind. And he tells us in the movie, he tells us not to try and bend the spoon. That's impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth, that there is no spoon. Then you'll see that it's not the spoon that bends, it's only yourself, meaning your mind. I can't change that autism is here, but I have full control over what I want to think about it. As far as I know, we are the only species that can hear our own thoughts. And what happens is, until somebody teaches us, we don't realize that we have full authority on what thoughts we want to get behind and what thoughts we feel are bullshit that are going to keep us stuck. And that's your work for potty training. That's where the work starts. Meaning, if I believe I can change the thoughts I think about myself and my child with autism, I can change the outcome for my baby and our reality. What if everything your brain's presented you has kept you where you are today? And what if I could choose to believe the possibility of potty training has been there all along? I just need to know the right skills to get it out of my child. And one of the biggest things that I've learned, now you see me, right? You've heard me talk, you've heard the video, you're getting a little taste of who I am, right? You may have this belief that, oh, she must have been born this way, like a total fucking nut. And I get it, right? I think I thought that for a while too. I'm like, I must have just been born this way. But I realized over time, as I try to reverse engineer my mind to help as many families as like you to get the results I got for Juliana, that I wasn't born this way, that this identity was created. In fact, I'd say this identity has existed probably since middle school. And what happened for me was that throughout my whole life, from kindergarten to middle school, I was bullied every day, nonstop. I'd come home crying every day. And at night in my room, I'm sitting there crying, dreading the next day, thinking, why isn't somebody coming here to save me? I am being treated so horribly. These kids are so mean to me. Why isn't a teacher, a superhero, somebody just swooping in, seeing this injustice and saving me? Right? And I had this thought, and I kept thinking about like what a superhero was. They're a miracle worker, right? They're exceptions to the rule. And in middle school, something happened. I had a confrontation with this bully, and I've had these confrontations with him for years. And something happened in this moment that I fucking snapped. And I remember thinking in my head, like, nobody's coming. It has to be you. And I confronted him for the first time in my life, and he never fucked with me again. In fact, not only did he not bother me, nobody ever bothered me again. And in that moment, I created a result I was waiting for somebody else to do for me. I became my savior. I became that person, that superhero that saved me from the day in and day out teasing that I was dealing with. And what I'm saying here is that first, I saw autism when it came to my life at 37 years old, when Juliana was diagnosed, right? When I had that identity shift in middle school, that identity shift I carried through for the rest of my life. I was raised dirt poor. I went from like living paycheck to paycheck. I remember driving my car with no car insurance, writing checks I knew would bounce, to then being able to afford to buy our first home, afford to provide for my family, right? Making something from nothing, because I had that identity from that moment I was able to hit that bully. And I said, you know what? I can do this. I could do this in all areas of my life. And I was so practiced in it. And when autism happened to us at the age of 37, I thought like you guys at first. I had that same knee-jerk reaction that this was like the worst possible scenario. It's like Rain Man. It's this major debilitating disability. But even with that fear, by that point in my life, I was so practiced in the belief that I could create the exception to the rule. I could be the exception to the rule for myself, and by extension, of course, I would believe my Juliana could be the exception to the rule, which, by the way, these are just thoughts I believe about myself every day. And it started with my hero's journey in middle school when I finally stood up to that bully. And I choose to believe this about myself every day. I recommit to this belief about myself. And being the exception and not the rule is the reason Juliana is where she is today. I have to believe it about myself so I can help her create that reality too. And this is the thing, when Juliana was first diagnosed, I had all those knee-jerk reaction. I had that pain, that horrible pain. It was a death for me. I always say, like, the autism diagnosis is this death. And it's not, she didn't die, but it was the neurotypical childhood experience died. And I had to grieve that. And the 5 stages of grief take you to the 5th one, which is acceptance. But a lot of us don't get there. A lot of us sit in our anger, our depression, the it's not fair, it's not right. And if we stay here, we can't create solves for what we have now. And acceptance isn't sexy, right? Acceptance isn't love and peace and harmony. Acceptance, like, listen, I didn't sign up for autism. None of us did. But it's what is. How can I create the best from what is? And I think having going through that process and already being this identity of this mother that fucking problem solved for herself, and of course she's going to problem solve for her baby. I assumed all parents thought this way. I was in this bubble that first year because we were getting all our services at home. And when she turned 3, we went to the autism school. We went to this autism classroom, and I assumed all parents thought like me. And I realized very quickly that most don't. Most stay stuck in the pain of the diagnosis and believing that the diagnosis is what decides the destiny for their children. Not ever believing again that they could create that destiny for their child. They believe they've surrendered to the diagnosis. And the ways I would see this, and it blew my fucking mind. I remember telling all the moms in our 614, this was the most intensive autism class. I got 3 moms to come with me out to a spa. I said, let's go to the spa. We deserve it. We work really hard for our kids, right? And we're in the hot tub, and I'll never forget this. They're talking about giving away their homes to the state, so their children will have a place to live when they're an adult, when they're dead. Our kids at this point are 3 and 4 years old. I had parents telling me how they were going to create businesses for dignified employment for children with special needs who would be adults with special needs, talking about getting on wait lists for adult day habs or programs when our kids are like 5, 10, even 15. Now, I'm a planner. I like to consider myself a planner. But I take huge issue if I'm planning my child into the grave. If I'm thinking at 3 years old that I'm giving my house to the state, the results I create are exactly that. A child that can't be independent, a child that stays in diapers and nothing changes. I have full authority. I can't predict what the future holds, but I can decide how I want to show up now. And is that where I want to spend my energy? Planning her into a group home? Or do I want to spend my energy showing up as the mom I promised I would be before the diagnosis came? And that's my question for you guys today. I can't give you the path to potty training if you've already given up on a limitless future for your baby. And you can't change anything for your child if you don't believe you can create change for yourself. This is huge. You can't change that autism is here, but you can decide how you want to show up for yourself and your child. And only when you do that can you change your reality and the reality for your baby. What are your thoughts around your child learning to potty train today? Do you think they're capable of potty training? Do you think you're capable of teaching them? Does autism mean diapers for life in your mind? Does autism mean death to you? Because it's not. The number one reason stopping your child from potty training is your thoughts about it. This is so fucking painful to look in the mirror and see this. And I'm a mom just like you. I had to look in the mirror too. I had to look at how I was looking at all of this and say, how am I a part of the problem and not a part of the solution? What am I thinking about her that's keeping her stuck? Your thoughts are creating your current results with potty training. Your thinking needs to be setting yourself and your child up for success when it comes to potty training. Mindset's a huge part of my program. I always say, like, you guys come to me for all the tips and tricks, all the tactical steps that maybe you aren't doing. But I'm telling you, there is nothing that you don't already know. Maybe the application could be different, but the mindset's in the gutter. It's in the toilet, pun intended. I got to get you out of stop and thinking that this is just going to be a fail after fail after fail. There's no fails in this. I go from learning or I'm winning. I'm never failing. All thoughts that we think are optional. And you get to choose the thoughts your brain presents that you want to get behind. And you want to think the thoughts that are going to get you new emotions, taking new actions, and getting the results you came for today, which is a child out of diapers. And I help parents like you to think intentionally to get the results you want for your child with autism. All right. So now let's talk about the steps to potty training. And these are what I call my potty cliff notes. And you guys will get all of these slides with the toilet training data sheet after this workshop. So the first thing that every child needs to potty train, every child, is to show potty readiness signs, right? They got to be able to wake up dry. They only need one, by the way. Wake up dry, take off a soiled diaper, tell you they need their diaper changed, hand you a pull-up, pull the poop off, pull the diaper off, pull the poop out of the diaper. These are signs that a child is ready to potty train. You only need one of them. To be free of any gastro issues such as loose stool or diarrhea or painful constipation. I'm not talking about a kid that can hold their poop for 5 days. I'm talking about a kid that like behaviorally changes like dramatically, where they can't even concentrate. They're in so much pain. Constipation goes hand in hand with potty training for all children. It happens to lots of our kids, okay? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about diarrhea, where it would make them difficult to get to the bathroom fast enough, or loose stool, or painful constipation, okay? They'd have to be willing to sit on the potty. We already had a question about that. We want to work on that first, then we get to potty train. We have to make them want to go. There's this big misconception. They don't have any desire to go. They have no interest. They don't mind sitting in a shit diaper. Well, so does any baby, right? If we look at any baby, they're happy to sit and piss and shit. Maybe some will be more sensitive than others. If they have a diaper rash, it might be a problem. But until I teach a child why they want to do it somewhere else, the interest isn't just going to magically appear. So I love using reinforcements, high value rewards to show them why they want to do it here instead of their pants. I love a schedule to go. I honestly have a neurotypical son and a daughter on the spectrum. As soon as they realized OP and poop go here, now I need you to tell me when to go so I don't have an accident. When I'm doing the process of potty training, I am not putting my pinky toe into the potty pool. I'm doing full submersion. That means bye-bye diapers. I am committed. The only time diapers would be allowed is at night or naps, as long as they're swiftly removed and underwear is put back on them. And of course, at school, what I like to say to my parents is that I want them 80% potty trained, 80% success for a day or two, and then they go into school with a bunch of underwear, a bunch of change of clothes, and have at it with the schedule and the rewards. Lots of reps and going. You guys think like, oh, okay, they only go, but when I tell them, yes, because they need to get practice. They need lots of practice to get this going. They have to be reminded when to go. This goes for all children. Everything on this list goes for all children. And then eventually to tell us when they have to go, or the child starts using the potty 100% independently. These are the exact steps that not only get an autistic child potty trained, it will get a neurotypical child potty trained. This is how it goes. And the skills you need to potty train is, number one, you need to be consistent. You've got to be committed to this process. You're going to make a strategy and you're going to stick with it. You're not going to use autism as a reason that you fucking quit after 2 hours, right? Number two is you need to be committed. I want you to look, if you come back from anything today and you look at like, oh my God, all this time I believe because of X, Y, and Z, my child can't be potty trained and that this is fucking bullshit. And I've actually been believing this. And that's the reason why I haven't been as committed as I am in the past. I want you to think of the reasons why your child is very smart cookie, why they could totally get this done, and be committed to getting it done, not quitting. That's the ultimate fail for a parent. It's not all the times you try and all the shit you clean off the walls and all the shit you clean off, piss and shit you clean off the rugs. It's when I quit and I say, fuck this, I'm putting them back and I pull up. That's just easier. This is a season. I always say that this is a small season in your life. You land this. This is going to identify the rest of your life. It can either be a small season or a major point in your life that never changes. It's up to you on what that looks like. Number three is you need to be willing to clean up accidents. I always say this to parents. I'm like, I'm not sure what you thought this was going to be, but it's not potty perfection. It's potty training, which means that there will be accidents. There will be mistakes, and that's okay, right? It's a part of the process. I want to neutralize the belief around like, I don't want to have to clean up accidents. I was a big one with this. Didn't even think I thought this wasn't like, I thought maybe 1 or 2. I didn't think like, 10 or 20, right? Number 4 is you need to be in a winning and learning mentality. There is no fails. There's things I've tried and things that worked, right? Doesn't that feel a lot better than like, oh, that was just a total fucking waste of time? If I think that, how motivated am I going to want to keep going? Winning or learning, there is no fails. The only true fail is quitting altogether. And if you can do this, the results, the child's going to be more compliant. You'll be more confident that you can teach them anything, because myth bust, big one this time, you don't need to be a special education teacher. You don't need to be a therapist, an autism specialist, or a doctor. In fact, none of those types of people are more capable than you to train your child, to teach them anything, because they don't know your baby like you do. That is a huge asset. All you need are the tips, the techniques, the consistency, the commitment, and you will be able to get this done and so much more. You're going to be less stressed. You and your child to have more freedom. Imagine what it'd be like to walk out of the house without diapers or worrying that he's going to have an accident at the holiday party, right? Most importantly, what you all came for today, your child's going to be potty trained. And that's the Potty Power class. And I want to invite you to start doing this work now. Every single day that goes by is an opportunity for your child to have the big 3. Waiting to develop these skills means waiting to stop changing diapers. Waiting also means dealing with constant tantrums because your child isn't communicating. And waiting means enduring problem behaviors, tantruming, getting aggressive with no end in sight. And worse, waiting to help your baby, stopping your child from having a chance at living an independent life. And that's what my Champions for Our Children Masterclass is all about. And this is a letter I got from one of our graduates. Her name is Teresa. I'm sorry, actually, this was Kim. And Kim was one of my first masterclassers. And she sent this email to me earlier this year. And she said, when I first found you, Easton was 3 and I couldn't get a firm diagnosis. He had very few words, 0 social skills, and was not potty trained. I found you the same day as our IEP meeting. That day I was defeated and overwhelmed after they asked me to list some of Easton's strengths. I sat there in tears as I struggled to come up with an answer. I had to find help, and luckily I found you. It's been 2 years since I joined the masterclass, and today I had a meeting with the school regarding his kindergarten placement. He is set to start in a general education class 80% of the time. He is fully potty trained. He has no aggressive behaviors. His speech is blossoming, and he tells me he loves me on a daily basis. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, had I not found you, we would not be here. I want you to know the work you do is so appreciated. It truly made all the difference in my life, and most importantly, Easton's life. You have literally turned our life around, and I can't tell you enough what that means to our family. You are truly a lifesaver. And this was a letter that Juliana got from one of her speech teachers. I'll never forget it. It was just a wonderful little end of the year note. And in it, she said that Juliana had made more gains and skills than she had ever seen in 25 years of experience. This is possible for your babies. I want you to believe that. Start believing that things are going to change for you. So why would you want to join my masterclass? Well, if you join, you're going to get personalized strategies for exactly where your baby is at. Even though it's a group coaching program, everyone gets their questions answered. You come to my call and we start creating a blueprint, and then we build on it week after week until you get the results you came for, including potty training. And we have a 100% success rate in my program for potty training. And you're going to start to reconnect to your child because communication is finally in place. And we're going to get to the root level of your child's behaviors and treat it, not just treat the symptom. I don't want you to keep putting out fires. I want you to be able to be proactive, see a problem before it starts and be able to solve for it so you're not dealing with the tantrums or the problem behaviors afterwards. When life happens, we're going to help you to get back on track. If a regression happens, we'll tell you exactly how to handle it. We're going to learn from trial and error rather than quitting on our kids. The only true fail is quitting. I'm going to teach you how to build that champion mindset so you no longer have to worry about autism every minute of every day. If you feel captive to your brain because you've been thinking like this for so long, I'm going to help you with this. I'm going to help you get out of those chains. I'm going to teach you how to get behind the thoughts that you want to believe about your child. They'll motivate you to take the right actions to get the results of potty training. And you're going to get your independence back too. The way that the program works is it's a three-prong approach. It's a group coaching program, but it guarantees results. And what you get when you join is the first part of it is my study vault of courses. For the lifetime, as my program is running, you'll have lifetime access to all of the courses in my study vault. I've got courses in there on potty training, communication, stopping problem behaviors, social skills, picky eating, mindset training. You know how important that is, right? Eloping. And we build this out every month. My daughter's 10 years old. We're about to hit puberty. I'm going to keep building this out because I'm still raising my daughter, and you're going to have access to this for life. And you get to do these. I have clients that'll come in and do full submersion, and they listen to it every minute, every day. They get an opportunity. They're listening in the car. They're listening on the way to work. They're listening in the shower. You get to do full submersion, or you can take your time because you have lifetime access to the web portal. And this is a collection of programs that I believe makes my program like the Harvard of autism. In addition to the study vault of courses, you're also going to get what I call the heart of my program, and that's the live group coaching calls. You're going to get on a Zoom just like this, but I'm going to be able to see all your faces, and everyone raises their hand and everyone gets their questions answered. And I run 3 to 4 of these a week. The first one is with me, right? On Mondays is my calls, and I'm an autism mom, just like you guys. I'm also a life coach, and we're going to craft a blueprint for what you came for. If you want potty training and communication, we're going to work on one at a time. We're going to nail them both. You leave with what you came for. And that's what we do on my call. The first week we talk, we build out your blueprint, and then every week we tweak and test till we get the result. In addition to my calls, you have the BCBA calls. We have Armando, Stacy, Melissa, and they're BCBAs who have master's degrees in ABA. I always call ABA the fluent language of our children. It is the #1 prescribed therapy for children with autism for a reason. It is proven, studied, effective. And I believe that ABA isn't necessarily taught the same way from everybody. They teach it the way that I've always been exposed to it, a loving pairing relationship between parent and child, between teacher and child. And one of our BCBAs, Armando, he's like the treasure of our program because he is an adult male with that's a BCBA, which we always love because most BCBAs are female these days, but he's also an adult with autism. And Armando didn't speak till the age of 7. His mother was told he would never speak. Not only does he speak, he is thriving. He got married last year. He is a BCBA. He believes so much in behavioral therapy. He became a BCBA. You're going to be able to talk to somebody with autism in my program. He remembers what it was like to be nonverbal. He remembers biting himself out of frustration. He's going to be able to tap into the brains of your baby. He's going to help you to give you access to what you don't already know. And you're going to get to speak to him as well on the BCBA calls. In addition to my call and the BCBA calls, you also get a mindset call. We talked a lot about mindset today, right? The potty power mindset. That's Risa and Holly. You're going to get on their calls. You're going to talk about feeling overwhelmed. You're going to talk about feeling trapped. You're going to talk about, like, I thought autism was a death sentence or since it came, and it's been years. And how do I get out of that thinking? How do I get myself out of my mental mud so I can believe something different? So I can believe more possibility for my child. And that's what that call is about. And even though it's a group coaching program, everyone gets their questions answered. So in addition to the study vault, and in addition to these 3 to 4 weekly live group coaching calls, you also get monthly specialist calls. This is once a month. We have a registered dietitian who's an autism mom. That's Greer. And we also have a speech language pathologist that's an autism mom. That's Jessica. I don't know if you caught the vibe here, but like I try to not just bring professionals in. I want to bring people who know what it's like to live this life and have seen the other side. I want to show you possibility. And that's what you're going to have access to in this program. So in addition to the study vault, you'll also get our 3 to 4 live group coaching calls with me and my experts. You'll get the monthly specialist calls. You'll also join our Facebook community. We have a private community just for the students where you're never going to feel alone again. You're going to post if you need support in between calls to me or the coaches. I check it every day to see if I can help my families. And when you join me, you can even email me. Your baby becomes my baby when you join this program. Support is my North Star. I want to see you win. So in addition to the study vault, 3 to 4 weekly group coaching calls with me and my experts, the monthly specialist calls, the private Facebook community, you also get my action back guarantee. Remember, I said this is a program that guarantees results. And it basically states that if you're here and you spend the 90 days with us and you don't get the results you came for, and you've been showing up to the calls, you've been doing the work, you either stay until you do, or I'll give you your money back. That's how solid I am in what we offer. I've never had it where somebody came in and did the work and not got what they came for. 100% results for potty training. This is possible no matter where your child falls on the spectrum. And we've had children from age 2 to age 31 potty train in this program. We just had an 18-year-old girl potty train. So if you join the program today, you get the study vault, 3 to 4 live group coaching calls. You get the monthly specialist calls. You get the private Facebook community. You get to contact me in between calls if you need me via email. You get our action back guarantee. But if you join today, we're going to throw in some bonuses. And the first one is a private session with me. We're going to do 2 private sessions. We're going to do one with me, which is just basically you and me on our own private Zoom. We could start the process right then and there. And then when you come to your first group call, it's like, okay, what have you done from the last call, right? Or you could save it and go a month in and say, okay, now I'm ready to have my private with Michelle. You get this private session if you join the masterclass today. In addition to that, you also get a private session with one of my BCBAs. And that could be Armando, that could be Melissa, Stacy, Julie. You're going to get access to 2 private sessions if you join the masterclass today. So in addition to that, you will also get 5 months in the program instead of 3. So that's our bonus number 2. So that's more than enough time. 3 months is more than enough time to get what you came for. We get results with potty training. If you're committed and we're really like diving into the results, I see tons of my kids. I'd probably say 70% of my children potty train within a month. The others might be like, well, mom's busy and their life happened and we have to kind of just get back on track. Nobody leaves without it happening. But I'm telling you, because potty training is the biggest thing that we solve, doesn't mean it's the only thing we solve. Once we get potty training done, great, let's talk about communication. Great, let's talk about reducing those problem behaviors. Great, let's talk about, giving that baby more foods to eat, right? So I want to give you the bonus today of having even more time to work with me and my specialists on anything related to your child. And that comes out to about 60 to 70 calls to change your lives. So in addition to everything we have here, the study vault, the group coaching calls, the monthly specialist calls, the private community, the action back guarantee, the 2 private sessions, 5 months in the program, we're going to do bonus number 3. And if you sign up today, you get $500 off the program if you join by midnight tonight. For Potty Power students only, if you join the masterclass today, the investment is $2,497, and that's with the $500 off, or 3 payments of $878, or 4 payments of $660. That's $16 a day, 70 plus calls of support to change your lives. All bonuses go away after midnight. Jen's going to put the link in the chat box so you guys can join now. If you're thinking, can I afford to spend the money on this? Or this is expensive. What do those thoughts mean to you? There's usually 2 reasons that parents come to me and they say that they want to join, they think it's valuable, they think this will help them, but they don't have the money, right? The first one is that, right? I don't have the money, I wasn't expecting this expense, or we don't have the money in our bank account, right? And I like to think of myself as an autism parent, but also as a master problem solver. And if money is the reason that you think that you can't join, I want you to come lean into that idea of like, to be a master problem solver like Michelle, I want to be a master problem solver for autism. And if this is the issue, how do I solve for that? And the universe tells us time and time again, how we do one thing is how we do everything. If it's been a challenge for you to do anything because of money, that's the thought that your brain gives you, like, this is really valuable, I really want to do this, but I don't think I have the money to do this. The universe is telling you that if you want to problem solve for your child with autism, you have to problem solve for finding money for a solution that's going to help you to help your child with autism. And I also want to challenge you in your beliefs of lack of money is the only reason that you don't join the program now. I was talking to a mother last week, and she wanted to join the program. She desperately wanted to join. She said that she didn't have the money. And one of the things she'd also mentioned on the call is her son loved his iPad. And we had talked about the iPad and how maybe we can use that as a reward to get important life skills like this done. And she was all in, and I can't afford it. I just don't have the money. And I said, let me ask you a question. If we think about something that you know has already brought value to your life, like that iPad, and one day what happened if it just broke, right? You already know the value of that iPad because you've had them in your life. You felt the necessity. You see how much your son enjoys it. Him using it allows you to do other things, right? If any of these things break, no matter the money, you always find a way, right? Because the value has already been presented to you. You already know that. So when somebody comes to me, like a soon-to-be client like her, because she ended up joining after we talked about this, I challenge that belief. Because when we have the desire, we always find a way, no matter our circumstances. So if you want to join the program and you think that's the reason you can't, what else could it be? Do you not believe in yourself? And I could understand that, right? Maybe you just don't think that you can do this. You've been thinking for so long that these results aren't possible because of I've been so vested in all of those myths. That's what my program is all about. You get what you came for. You do the work, or I'm going to give you your money back. That's how solid I am in what I do. The other reason people say they might not be able to do it or it's expensive is like, oh, I'm planning for Christmas. I have Disney. I'm doing the house rental, right? It wasn't in our budget. I had a mom I talked to last week as well. She was debt consolidating. We were talking about this, and I thought this was so interesting because I debt consolidated too. I did it twice in my 20s. And I said to her, I'm like, I don't really remember much about the debt consolidation. It was really like a very small season of my life. But if I was going through debt consolidation and I was also had this child in diapers, right? Which diapers is costing me more money, which is making probably one of the reasons why I have to debt consolidate. If I had to choose between one or the other, if it meant I would still focus on paying off the debt, it just take a little longer, I'd want to problem solve for the child, right? And I told her, I said, I don't remember much about the debt consolidation, but I'll never forget the day that Juliana peed on the potty for the first time and gave me the sign for it. And like, in this season of your life, I'm not saying not to take care of your money, and debt consolidation isn't important. But what if it's possible? And this is something we also said, she said she'd never forget this, and I agree too, that if we get her child potty trained within 2 weeks, which like I said, is very possible, she's committed, she's willing to do the work, right? And debt consolidation happens even faster because now she doesn't have the expense of the potty training. This is what's possible here. And I don't want your brain to just throw up a reason just to have you stay in the cave to keep things the same. If you're thinking you're too busy, or I don't know if now's a good time, you don't have time now. This is going to take even longer to do on your own. Some of you have older children. You've been at this for a while. Time with children on the spectrum is more valuable than money. And we can't afford to waste a minute not being strategic in how we're spending it to up-level our kids. If you think you need to think about it, right? It doesn't take time to make a decision. It takes information. That's what this program is all about today. I want to answer questions. I'm going to coach you. You put your questions in the Q&A. Don't make indecision your reason to not make a decision, whether it is to be with me and do the program or not. Give yourself the gift of a decision today. If you're thinking I've failed so many times or I've tried everything, how will this be different? I want to just give you I had a conversation with my husband a week ago, and he said, I tried this thing and it was total money grab. It was a total waste of time. It was such garbage, Michelle. I'll never do that again. And I said, well, what if it isn't a problem? Like, what if it wasn't a problem? What if it was what if it actually could work and you just had it with the wrong person? And what if it wasn't a fail, right? Because he's thinking either I'm winning or I'm losing, and this was a loss, right? A total money grab. What if it wasn't that? What if it was just, it brought you to this next stage of what all right, I know what doesn't work, right? I've tried and done so many things that haven't worked. What if all of those tries led you to this moment? And that all of those tries got you to the moment when you found something that did work, and it was my program. Remember, I'm either learning or winning. How do you want to make that decision today for you and your child? And I want to talk about unicorn syndrome. I get this a lot. I'll get parents to say, okay, Julianne is different than my child. Juliana was diagnosed moderate to severe on the spectrum. My child has severe autism. Armando didn't speak till the age of 7. He was self-harming. His mother was told he would never be independent. This works for other kids, but it won't work for mine. My child's broken or I'm broken. There's nothing out there that will change the trajectory for my child. Unicorn syndrome is a self-preservation state. If I stay here, I never put myself out there to have these hopes and dreams for my baby. And when that doesn't happen, I can't be hurt. Your brain thinks that if you try something and it doesn't work, it won't survive the fail. And I'm telling you, as a mother who has tried many things, I've tried 90% of the things I've tried with Juliana did not work. But the reason I'm still standing here is that you could survive that. I'm proof of that, right? Armando's mom could be proof of that. 95% of what she tried didn't work. But you can survive it. And having that thought is putting you and your child into a life of impossible. I want you to start to believe that I am very capable of taking hit after hit and getting right back up for the sake of my baby. Sitting in I don't know or asking shitty questions with no real answers keeps you stuck and not taking action to help your baby now. Indecision is keeping you second guessing and losing precious time that you could be making progress. Nothing comes from an I don't know or a bullshit question you can't answer. Just decide. Give yourself the gift of decision today. Decide you're not ready and you won't do the work, or decide you're nervous, but you're willing to go for it. Give yourself the gift of a decision. Honor yourself and your child right now. If fears or worry are dominating your day and night, then join us. If there's something in you that identifies with what I've taught you today and it makes sense, take the leap of faith and join me. Saying yes will have you and your baby moving forward today. For the Potty Power Workshoppers, if you book into the program by midnight tonight, you get 1 private session with me, 1 private session with the BCBA, 5 months in the program instead of 3, $500 off. All bonuses go away after midnight tonight. That's an error on my screen. You want to make sure that you are clicking that link in the chat box and you're joining by midnight tonight to get that price and these bonuses. Okay. All right, perfect. And right before we get to it, I am just going to show a quick video, take a pee break, and we're going to do some coaching. All right, so now, I guess, where are you now? You and your child, now that you've joined the program.
He's awesome. He is fully potty trained now.
But now he go outside and not in pool because we've learned to let him use the bathroom.
They're doing really, really well. Both are potty trained. I'd say 95% of the time, doing really, really well.
Obviously, potty training is huge. You know, just a lot of things.
He's fully potty trained. We go everywhere, just in our undies. We don't have to worry about that.
He honestly now is 85% potty trained. Now and then he has some accidents, but he pretty much is able to go on his own.
I was scared I was going to be one of those parents that their child was not going to be potty trained.
We did the 3-day intensive, like you suggested, and Sarah is potty trained, 100% no accidents for P.
2 weeks ago, we completely removed that night.
Yes, it's very exciting to have him potty trained, and that was our goal for our school.
I just want to say that within a month of being in the program, Jude was potty trained, both number 1 and number 2. He hasn't been able to pull up for over 4 weeks.
Everything we got the service for him in 3 months. He's potty trained, and he's more verbal.
He's potty trained. I take him to the potty, he pees. He has no accidents, and he loves going to the potty. There's no problematic behavior.
And we're locking step, and I think because he's got the pooping down and he's very independent of the whole process.
You know, I started listening to tips from Michelle, got involved in the course, and in the first couple of weeks, my son was fully potty trained.
And I know you're giving some advice to help him stay dry overnight, which has been helping. And it's been wonderful for me.
You and your team like help pull that out. It's amazing. You know, it's amazing what you guys do.
God, yes. That we go everywhere now. We have no diapers with us. I always just stick a little spare on the door just in case he gets an accident, but he'll tell us. We'll go to the mall and he'll tell us that he says potty. Or he'll see a door that looks like it might be a bathroom door and he'll pull you in, like he wants to go in there. And we go to the potty like in the mall. It's incredible.
It has been absolutely life-changing for me. Absolutely. Hands down of everything we've done. You guys have a gift.
100%. I do recommend it.
This is going to help you. You'd be crazy to not get in this program if you have concerns about your child. Absolutely. And
Oh, sorry about that. All right, well, we'll just get right to questions. I'm not sure what happened. Not sure what happened there. All right, let's just stop right there. Love to have you in the program. Let's get going. Let's go do some questions. Oh, before we do coaching, Jen, are we ready to do Wheel of Names?
Yes, yes.
All righty, so let's do Wheel of Names first. For all of our participants that are here and would like to be coached, raise your hand. I'm going to take Debbie and Day first. While she's doing Wheel of Names, I'm going to pull up some Q&A questions. I hope today was helpful. Somebody asked, did my daughter ever require medication? This is a very interesting question because my beliefs on medication is like, I would never judge anybody who who did medication for their child. And Brooke, if you are still here, make sure she's still here. Brooke is not still here. Roll it again because she is not here. So that means she does not get her private session. What my belief on medication is that I want to be able to look in the mirror and say, I've tried everything before I put a child on medicine. I'm really adamant on this because their brains are still developing and I want to make sure that I've left no stone unturned. If you feel that way, then I understand. I'm not here to judge. Yvette is not here. Let's keep going. Is she here or no? No, she's not here. Keep going. So when it comes to medication, I say it's a personal decision. Juliana was never on medication. In my mind, I was determined, right? It's that thought work that I had done that I was never going to have a situation where I felt like that was my only option. And if you feel that way, then we want to make sure that that's not the reason that you go there. So no, Juliana was not on medication. She's not here either. Can we maybe, how about this?
Yvette is here.
Okay. Okay. Cassandra's there?
Yvette.
All right. Yvette. All right. There we go. Cassandra's not here, right? Cassandra is not here. All right, so it's Yvette. Perfect. If your name came up on the Wheel of Names and you were here, you're going to email michelle@michellebrodgers.com. You want a private session with me? Woo! Let's talk. Let's get down to the potty business on our call. I'm excited for you. Okay, so let's start with Debbie. I am going to bring you up for some coaching. Remember, if you're coaching, you're in a quiet place. You have audio, you have video, you have good internet. You're not driving, you're not eating, you're ready to talk. So let's go. Your screen's going to blink. And you're going to come on the screen as a panelist. While she's coming up, I have tried sitting with both of my boys in the potty and they can sit there for 30 minutes and still not go. I even tried potty training videos. What should I do to get them to go? We want to talk about, today we're going to talk a lot about rewards. The reward to get them to go needs to be like fucking through the moon. I'd be willing to do anything. I'd claw anybody's eyes out to get access to that thing. You got them sitting, that's amazing. So now we've got to make sure we've got a reward system in place that will let them be actually able to get up and to eliminate. All right, Debbie, you declined to be a panelist. All right, so I'm promoting Bakisha. You are next. Make sure that you have good audio, good internet. You're in a quiet place. Bakisha, you there? I'm going to promote you to panelist.
I'm here.
Oh, there she is. All right,
there she is. All right.
I hear echo.
I hear echo. Okay.
Do you have me on speaker?
I'm trying to.
All right. I can hear you now. I don't know if it's a panelist problem or what. All right. Can you hear me?
I hear you well.
All right. I don't hear myself anymore. So that's good. All right. So Bakisha, right? Am I saying your name right?
Right.
Tell me about your baby.
Anthony is I guess he's pre-verbal. He can request and communicate. So he's saying maybe 1 to 2 words. And we are potty training, but we need structure.
Okay. So let me start right here with what you said. I guess he's pre-verbal. Why would you call a child who can request and communicate 1 to 2 words pre-verbal?
Because it's not saying complete sentences.
But he's using his voice to talk.
sometimes he get frustrated to communicate about communicating.
Yeah, that's fine, you know, because obviously at some point he didn't have to communicate to get his wants and needs. And now there's a new rule in town that if I know you can talk, I'm going to expect that of you, right?
Right.
So but I have to start when this is why mindset's like the biggest part. You guys think it's the things to do or the quote unquote, he needs structure. The first thing that needs structure is my thoughts about him. And I don't think you mean this in a harmful way, but it is harmful because if I think I have a pre-verbal child who actually can be verbal, my expectations of him will be based on that belief. Do you see that?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Because if I think he doesn't speak and I think he's pre-verbal, then I treat him like
as I see him.
Well, as you see him is actually not how you treat him because he actually talks. But the reason when I treat him if I treat a talking child, even if it's only 1 or 2 words as pre-verbal, then I treat this as a child that is less than.
Okay.
Less than in the concept of like, he can't even talk. Do you see that?
Right.
So if I have a belief, and this happens a lot, it's the number one myth. It's number one myth for a reason, that if I believe that my child can't potty train because they're pre-verbal, that's exactly why it's not happening.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not trying to beat a dead horse. I'm trying to land it for you that actually you have a child that I would never describe as pre-verbal. I use pre-verbal versus non-verbal for children that are not being verbal for a reason. Because I think the adjective of nonverbal sucks. When I think nonverbal, I think final, can't be changed, nothing's going to happen, right? And I'm going to take action from that space. So if she's taking action from pre-verbal, right? Because she liked the way that felt better than nonverbal. Have you ever called him pre-verbal before or no?
Yes.
Have you called him nonverbal too?
Well, when he wasn't speaking, saying anything.
It's really interesting. You see, like it's interesting how your brain works. But what I want to say here is I want to identify him as a child with potential first, always. And thinking thoughts or adjectives that make it feel like that's not the agenda is going to keep me stuck, and it's going to make my brain believe that potty training is not possible. Does that make sense, Patricia?
It does.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So let's talk about the actual potty training. What have you tried?
We have tried going to we tried the potty, the potty that sings. We changed from that and put a potty on the toilet, the one with the ladder, so that he can bounce.
You went from seat to insert. Okay. And what else? How did that go?
Oh, it went well. The transition was well. So now we are doing the toilet, the real toilet. We're transitioning from the seat to the real toilet. And it's going
now, okay. And that's going on. How old is Anthony?
4.
4. Got it. All right. All right. So so tell me, why do you think that he hasn't landed it yet? Now that you've watched the workshop and you thought through everything, what do you think the problem is?
I'm thinking the problem is let me see how to put it. Well, one thing I've observed is, let's say for instance, he may sit on the toilet for 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets off the toilet just to go to the tub. And in between moving from the toilet to the tub, he urines on the floor.
So he'll sit on the potty for 10 minutes, then he gets up, and then where is he headed?
To the tub to take a bath.
To the tub, and right before he gets in the tub, he pisses on the floor.
Right.
Okay. Why do you think he does that?
I was wondering if he may have if he understands when to release it, when to, release the urine.
Got it. All right. I'm gonna run an exercise with you, okay? Imagine you had another son who was neurotypical and you were teaching him to potty train, right? So it's the first day of potty training. You put him on the toilet, he gets up and he pees on the floor. What would you think about that?
I'm thinking the timing is off. Maybe you need more time. We need.
And how would he get that? How would he get that? I love this. How would he get that?
By me giving him maybe 15 minutes or 20 minutes.
So you're thinking more time on the toilet. All right, so that's one option. What else?
Another thing is while he's on the toilet, I can talk to him, encourage him to pee or poop.
All right, you're encouraging him. What else do you need when you're potty training? When you're training to do anything, learning a new skill, what do you have to do when you're training to learn a new skill? Even walking, what do you need to do to learn how to walk?
Someone to coach him.
What do you need to do? We're not talking about your son on the spectrum. We're talking about your brand new baby who's neurotypical and he needs to walk. He needs to learn how to walk. What would we need to do to teach him how to walk?
I don't know what answer you're looking for.
So here's the thing, and I wanted to show this, and I'm wondering if anyone else got this, and if you did, put it in the Q&A. The problem that she's having is that she believes that he doesn't understand when to release the urine. The reason she's believing that is because she believes that the autism is making it so that he can't process when the right time is to let the urine out. But the real problem is that she has that thought. That's not what the issue is. The issue is just like training to ride a bike, learning to walk, and to teaching any child to potty train. What do we do a lot of? We practice.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
So we need to do a lot of reps of this. But if my brain presents to me that there's a comprehension issue, then it's trying to solve for comprehension and it stops taking the amount of reps you would normally take in a different situation, like with a neurotypical child. Tell me what you're thinking.
Okay. I'm thinking that practice and repeating is, would work for him.
It would be better, right? And if I have a thought that, he just doesn't understand when to release, I'm going to try and solve for making him understand. Versus the way that first thing I have to understand is no child understands when to release. The only way they know is through repetition and reinforcing the behavior, which is with the reward. So what's his reward for going?
He gets a sticker that he gets to put on the trunk.
Awesome. On a scale from 1 to 10, how desirable is that sticker?
Oh, he loves it.
He loves it. Got it. What does he love to, like, what in his world does he love that he'd do anything to have access to?
To have his tablet is one. Singing.
All right. Let's just do tablet in one hand. Anthony, I've got your tablet here in one hand and some stickers in the other. Which one is he grabbing for?
The tablet.
Right. So the stickers are nice. Sure, I like them. I'm not pissing on a potty for him. Right?
Right.
So what if we could use the tablet as the reward for going? Wouldn't that change desire? And with if I increase desire to want to do this right, along with giving him lots of reps, how could we not get this done?
Okay,
Does that make sense?
right. And should a time frame should, like, there should be a limit with the tablet?
No, I want you, first off, it's not a time issue, right? I don't even advocate for more than 5 minutes on, 10 minutes off. I like to do what's called a potty intensive, meaning like the reason why I like doing a lot of reps, I can't just tell you to go, hey, go off and do a lot of reps, because you all think that what's a lot of reps? An intensive is a lot of reps. You might think going 5 times a day is a lot of reps, 3 times a day. I don't want to leave it to the abstract. I'm telling you a lot of fucking times. He needs a lot of practice figuring out where you want him to eliminate, right? So what I recommend is a potty intensive. That means I take the toilet training data sheet that you're going to get with the replay today, and you're going to start keeping track of when he's wet, when he's dry, and when he's having a bowel movement. You check it every hour. And that's going to give you an idea of like what his patterns are and how often I should take him if I want to have him, if I want to get the reps in to get this done.
Okay.
And I don't advocate having him sit for 20, 30 minutes. That sucks, right? That deflates desire to do anything. That deflates desire to comply. Who wants to sit on a throne for 30 minutes and not even knowing what the fuck you want from me? The way that a child makes the connection that pee and poop go here is through reps. So if we're doing an intensive, which is like, let's say it's 5 minutes on, 10 minutes off, depending on the data you collect, right? What I like about that is one of two things is going to happen. When you do an intensive, you're locked in a room with the child attached to a bathroom, right? A room that's attached to the bathroom. Your focus is that child and no other child. So you will find somebody else to take the rest of the kids. And then you're going to say, okay, one of two things is going to happen today. Either you're going to pee on that potty when you're sitting there and you don't realize it, or I'm going to start to see the pee going down your leg and I'm going to run you to the bathroom. As long as some of that pee lands in the potty, he gets the reward.
Okay.
We want to make that connection, and that's how it clicks. That's how they make the connection. That's how any child understands. Oh, you want me to go in there when I do that? I get something. Oh, okay. And stickers are great and everything, but like it's not enough. I can tell you right out of the gate, it's not going to be enough.
Okay.
Especially if something as valuable as an iPad is in play, which means that now you're going to have to remove the access he has to that and change it and make it only available for potty training.
Okay.
Is that helpful?
Oh yeah, thank you.
All right, no problem. Keep me posted. Let me know how it goes.
Oh, I will.
All right, no worries.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, I am going to try Debbie again. I'm just going to allow you to talk because I don't think the panelist thing is working, but if not, I'm just going to allow you to talk. Oh, there she is. All right, you are, Debbie. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. I don't know what happened before, but I guess we're having some technical issues. How can I help you today? Tell me about your baby. Was today helpful?
Yeah, it definitely is helpful. So my son is 5. He's turning 6 in October. He went through a phase where there was like 2 solid weeks of potty training, and then he went away for a weekend and he came back completely scared to go poopy in the potty. So now after that weekend that he went away, it was probably a week and a half that he didn't defecate. So I could tell he was uncomfortable. His stomach was starting to like definitely kind of bloat and be a little bit hard. So I had to give him a suppository, which I think has kind of also scarred him from going poopy in the potty. So he's doing really well again with peeing on the potty. It's just now like the pooping is difficult, and like he's actually asking for diapers again.
Okay. And what are you doing about that?
So for a little while I was letting it happen because after the suppository happened, he was going a lot, and then it seemed as though it was like sort of like diarrhea, and I knew that it was difficult for him at school. But now that it's sort of run its course, I'm back to just letting him sleep with the diaper, but then like making sure he's in the underwear all day. But when when he starts to feel his bowels moving, he sort of like goes upstairs and will help himself to a diaper. And
okay,
I've kind of just let him rock with it because I'm like, well, I definitely want him to go. But I know, I do try to sit him on the potty, but then when I'm sitting him now, there's like, he's not he's not pushing. We're just sort of like looking at each other like, now what?
Okay, is he peeing standing up?
He's peeing standing up, yes.
So what do you think the problem is?
I think that I mean, in general, he's a very like self-led young man. He likes to take the initiative by himself. I don't really know what the problem is, why and so before this, he definitely went through phases where he would hold it in very much, and he'd get constipated, and it would become really hard and impacted, which then gave him, I think, fear of going to the potty because of the pain. So now I feel like I'm kind of stuck in a place where, it's like we're sort of going back and forth, and I'm giving him like stool softener to make sure that it doesn't impact, so there isn't any pain. But now again, like the thought process of what he was doing before, which was like actually like going to the potty, asking for the potty, and actually pushing, he's not doing that anymore. And I don't know why he's not even like attempting now.
Got it. All right. Which is really fascinating to me because you already told me why he's not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it so interesting how our brain's like, this is a fucking mystery. And when my brain presents to me that this is a fucking mystery, it's like a wall goes up and all these solves are behind it.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So it's really interesting. So you said that you actually did a potty intensive with him. It went well, but then he went away. And I guess while he was away, he was allowed to wear diapers.
Yes.
And what was the decision making there that if he was doing potty training for 2 weeks and he was making some progress, why would you put him back in diapers?
Well, unfortunately he was away with my ex-husband, so I don't know why he decided to put him back into diapers.
Okay, so the ex-husband made a decision when you sent him away that to give him diapers and put him in diapers while he was with him. So when you got him back, he was scared to go on the potty.
Right.
Right. And then so now we've got a situation which we didn't have before he left, because before he left, he was peeing and pooping with you.
Yes. And actually actively asking for potty.
What a fucking amazing thing. I want you to be excited here because I know you're thinking like, I fucking lost it. And we all think in the autism world, regression is death. But regression is a part of life. And if anything, behaviorists tell us is that if a child had a behavior once and lost it, they can get it back. That's studied, tried and true. So I want you to help feel like good about that because you already were able to do this. It's just going back to the basics. And one of the things that you probably didn't have to deal with at first, but now became a new obstacle is his potty phobia. So when he came home, you're thinking he's I'm so fascinated because you basically told me what the problem was, told me why the problem is there. And then I asked you, I was like, all right, she's probably going to tell me it again, but let's just see what she says. And you don't even say that. You're just like, oh, he's a self-led young man. And he holds his constipation. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
She just told me, So like, this is what happened, right? She had him potty trained, sends him off to the ex for whatever fucking reason. That guy puts him back in a diaper. He comes home and he's scared to use the potty. So this wasn't a problem that she never had to solve for before. A lot of you guys have this where a child would have done that before, or where a child would won't sit at all, and you never get past that. And you're like, I can't potty train, you won't even fucking sit. And I get that. So then we got to solve for that as its own program first. But her mind was like, we had already done this. This doesn't even make sense, right? So then you're trying to get him to do it. Then he starts to hold his poop. He holds it for a week and a half. And then she adds more trauma by giving him a suppository. Now he's really fucking freaked out because he gets a suppository. I'm assuming you sat him on the potty to release it all. And he probably lost his fucking mind because now he's scared to sit. Now he's really scared to sit. Right? So she had it, lost it. Now is doing some things that probably weren't the best, but I don't have a problem with this, Debbie, because at least you're fucking trying. Some people won't even try. So I don't want you to even feel like you failed him or you hurt him or you did damage to him, because I know that's coming up too.
Yeah.
You can't think this way. You didn't do this to hurt him. You didn't do this to do child abuse. You're doing this to teach him an important life skill. If I want him to be independent one day, he needs this.
Yes.
It didn't work what you tried. That's all. you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm feeling a lot of pressure for sure.
Yeah. Don't feel that way. You just fucking didn't work what you tried. You didn't do
Mhm.
this with the intent of the outcome that you had. You did this with the
Mhm.
intent of helping him to feel better, not to feel worse.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now let's just talk about this. This happens a lot. When we teach our children to stand, or boys to stand to pee, they don't get a lot of reps of sitting on the toilet. So it feels a little weird, right?
Right.
He went through an intensive with him for 2 weeks, so he got a lot of support and assurance that it was okay to sit. But in the meantime, he lost those reps after 2 weeks being with his dad. And when he came home, sitting was still really like, I didn't get as many reps for sitting as I did for standing. And that's the case with peeing and pooping, right? That's why it's very common to get pee first and poop comes later, because they get a lot more reps for peeing than they do for poop. Especially with my kids too. They didn't poop every day. They pooped every couple of days. Even to this day, they still poop every couple of days. So what she needs to do here, it's not a self-led young man problem. It's not the problem isn't that he even holds. The problem is he's just got a little bit of phobia for sitting. So we gotta fix that first. Just get him neutral to sitting up to 3 to 5 minutes. I don't want him to push. I don't want him to do anything.
Okay.
I want to get him to sit, be neutral and chill about sitting. And then we can go back to trying to potty train him. In the meantime, listen, I get why you did the suppository. We're not going to do that anymore, right? Because it's a super violent experience when you have an enema and all of a sudden it's all gushing out. I don't mind a natural stool softener. What I would be doing is like, okay, he has a tendency to hold. What I'm going to do is make it very difficult for him to hold. I'm not going, and that's not an enema. This isn't the answer. What if I could give him certain foods? There's magnesium supplements. There's things that we can do that naturally get the body moving. And he's still going to attempt to hold, but you can't associate that holding with the pain that you saw with a week and a half, because we're not going to allow that to happen again. We're going to make it so that we've got all the tools on. I don't see even him holding it for a week and a half as a fail for Debbie. These learns have to happen so we can avoid using that learn to avoid another learn and get a win. So it's like, all right, he held it for a week and a half. Could I have given him more foods that would have made it harder for him to hold? Right? Could I have, maybe he wouldn't have even held it for a week and a half if I just got him okay with just sitting. Does that make sense for you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what I was doing to like to get him back to sitting, I think I was having him sit for too long. There were definitely some times where like I felt like we were there for like a good 15-20 minutes. So I think shortening that makes it probably a lot more palatable for him for sure.
Yes. I want to build up, like first I want him to be completely neutral. When I ask him to sit, he's happy to. And how I do that is I'll start with a baseline. So let's say you said that, all right, if I get him to sit, he'll sit for 30 seconds and then he'll pop back up. Then that's your baseline. I start my clock there. And I say, okay, if you sit for 40 seconds now, you don't even tell them that you increase the time. You're just going to show them the timer. I'm going to give you a sticker. I'm going to give you a cookie. I'm going to give you a balloon, a piggyback ride, something, a little reward just for sitting.
Okay.
What's the reward that you've been using for potty training?
Before it was like, I'd give him an M&M, but I honestly haven't gone back to the reward system. Basically just because I think I just forgot about it.
You know why you forgot about it?
Why is that?
Why do you think you forgot about it? I'll tell you.
Because I felt like he was potty trained and we probably didn't need it anymore.
Well, because if you thought for a minute that a fucking M&M would make this happen, you would have ended up with like a pound of them, right? It's the mystery that my brain creates. So there's a problem, regression.
Yeah.
Rest. I have to solve for regression.
Yeah.
Just like the mom before you, where he just doesn't understand the pee goes there. I'm solving for the wrong problem.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That makes sense.
Yeah, and then when I'm solving for the wrong problem, I don't even go back to what worked when I did it the first time. That's what the mindset part of my program and what you hopefully took away today is all about. Like, I got to start changing the way I think about him and start changing the way I think about myself. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep getting more of the same.
Yep.
Is that helpful?
Yeah, very helpful. Thank you so much.
It's totally going to be fucking potty trained, no problem. You just got to get that high desire reward, get him neutral to sitting, and he's going to be back at it, I say, within a week. You ain't going to have any issues.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, no problem, Debbie. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye-bye. All right, Nariva, you are next. Naria, hopefully I'm saying your name right. Promoting you to panelist. What a good sesh this morning. Let me answer some questions. My son is autistic, almost 5 years old, fully potty trained with urination, but he's not quite for number 2. We've been trying a long time. He is nonverbal. Who gives a fuck, right? We're going to say, who gives a fuck to that, right? It's not about him being verbal. Hey, how you doing? 1 second. So I just want to answer this real quick for Felicia.
Sure.
So I want you to know, if you don't already notice, that you do not need to be verbal. My daughter was using a sign to potty train. So for Felicia, for your son, does he sit to pee? If he doesn't, then he's probably just needs some more reps in sitting. That's what I just helped Debbie with. And we want to work on that first, and then we can start working on the actual elimination for poop. We've got to get him neutral to sitting. Okay, Nariva, how are you? Was today helpful today? Naria, you there? Am I saying your name right?
Yeah, sorry, I'm on mute. I was on mute.
All right.
Yes.
No worries. All right. And how was today? Was today helpful for you?
Yes. Yes. Very.
All right.
Very.
Tell me about your baby and how I can help you.
Yes. So my son is going to be 3 in August, and he is verbal. He can say like a word or 2 words together. And we just started potty training him. So he understands to pee standing up. He knows what to do because his brother does it. So he watches him, and then he knows how to release it in the toilet. So I guess my question is that how do I get him to do number 2 or poop just sitting down? We haven't really tried it. It just like when I catch him trying to poop in his diaper, I quickly, undo the diaper and pick him up and put him on the toilet. And then he just doesn't do it. He doesn't know what's going on. Like he doesn't know to release it. So I think he just holds it.
Okay, so let's go through the rundown too. Will he sit anytime you ask him to on the toilet?
Yes, but he will not pee that way.
Okay,
he doesn't
fine.
understand how to do that. Yeah.
That's fine, because he needs to sit to poop. So that's why I'm asking. So
right, yeah.
When you ask him anytime to sit, he'll sit. How long will he sit for 3 to 5 minutes every time you ask him?
We never tried it that long. So, and if we do, I think we're probably going to need like something to distract him with.
Or, right, like I love the idea of like, I try to keep distraction to a minimum. They can carry a book or hold a toy or whatever. But the idea here is I want a little concentration because he's got to hear nature call. So the idea here is really just to get him to sit for 3 to 5 minutes, just to have that instructional control with him, because that's what it might take for your poop to come out.
Okay. Yeah, but with pooping, I just don't know when he's going to do it at all until like I see him like in the corner of a room.
Yeah,
but yeah,
so
with peeing, we can do it. Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the scenarios you've had. So the couple scenarios you saw it about to happen. You rip his diaper off, you run him to the bathroom, and then he doesn't go.
Right.
Then what happens?
So, and then just let him sit for a little bit, and then we put diaper back on again, and then a couple of minutes later, there will be poop in the diaper.
Okay. All right. So why do you think he's not getting it?
I don't think he knows. Maybe it's a sitting down, because he poops standing up in the diaper.
Do you think that the reason why he's not eliminating on the toilet is because he stands to poop in his diaper currently?
Yeah.
So the pee training, there really wasn't any training. He was just following what his brother was doing, or did you actually do like a potty training session with him?
No, there's no training. It's more like, oh, look at your brother peeing. And then first couple times the pee didn't really come out until a couple times later he understands to, release it in the toilet, like to push it out.
How do you think he went from just watching it to actually like understanding that that's what he had to do?
I guess just have him stand there and just saying, pee, pee in the potty. Or I make the sound like, shh, like to just release it.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
So what it is this is really interesting, right? She never actually potty trained him intentionally, right? It was just like
Right.
exposure to his brother. This is what your brother does. And she magically got, that's how I think she assumes it, she magically got him to start going because he saw his brother go, right? So her brain is like, all right, so poop should be the same. Right? And it's not happening. So then her brain is saying, well, it's not happening because he doesn't sit to poop. He stands in his diaper and takes a shit. So if I believe that that's the real reason why he's not pooping on the toilet, how do I solve for that?
I guess I gotta have him sit more. I mean, we haven't, I guess that's another thing too, to actually have him just sit there.
Yeah, fucking yeah. So like what's so interesting is that your brain can't solve for that because that wasn't even on the table. That's why this mindset stuff is so make or break for everything autism. It has communication, potty training, social skills, problem behaviors, you name it, right? If I'm not even looking at other potential points of failure as to why this is happening, I'm never going to see this. It's only because we're having this conversation. She never was like, you got like a very unique situation where he was just kind of through osmosis looking at his brother, picking up the reps of, oh, okay, this is how you want pee done, right? But your brain will automatically, our brains attach to what we think worked and just assume that that's how it should work every time. And if the brain says, oh, if you could just watch him and get it, then he should be able to do the same for poop. Oh, but he's not. You know why? Because this is how the brain problem solves. The brain doesn't like change. Taking him from diapers to underwear to using the toilet is fucking scary for the brain. Our brain has 60,000 thoughts a day and most of them are shitty. And it's not because the brain wants to be a dick. The brain believes that keeping you scared keeps you safe. Its job isn't to elevate you. Its job isn't to make you happy and in turn elevate your son to teach him this important life skill. It's meant to keep you in the cave because it knows that you can live. You're surviving changing those diapers. Everything's fine with you changing those diapers. So when you try to problem solve with a brain that's never been questioned, you're never going to get the answer you're looking for because you've let this brain run like a toddler in your head with scissors. And I'm not just saying this for you. This is everybody. We're a species, as far as I know, that can see its own thoughts. And if we can see its own thoughts, we can choose what to get behind and what not. And she got behind the belief that because he stands in his diaper and shits, that he can never make the connection to sit and shit. So now, right, when we think about everything we talked about, right, it's not potty perfection, it's potty training. She didn't have that experience in training. She had this wonderful experience where he watched his brother, and after a few reps, which is kind of like training, he figured it out. It clicked for him. Now her brain's like, it's not working. The same system's not working. And the reason it's not working is because he stands to poop and there's just nothing we can do about that. He's just not to wear diapers. Do you see that?
Yeah.
It's like a crazy age in our mind.
Yeah.
Definition of insanity.
Yeah, it's really me
right?
that has to.
Yeah.
It's
so now that we're done with that shit, and we're like, oh, okay, I realize there's like a toddler running around my brain just stabbing shit everywhere. Now I realize, all right, I'm not going to believe that anymore. If I want to train a child to potty train, think about how you trained your first son. How did you potty train him?
Oh man, he had issues too, and he's neurotypical, and he would hold his poop. It was so hard for him. Like I think it might have hurt him, so he would hold on to poop for the longest time. But thankfully he did it by 3.5, almost 4, to actually let go of the toilet.
Yeah, but
by same thing, sitting in the toilet. But even then, he would stand and hold it so hard, and we would have to like bend him in half for him to let it go. So that was like horrible.
Yeah, but all right. So I'm going to teach you a funner, easier way to do it with your son. But the way you did it with him ultimately was just a lot of practice, a lot of reps.
Yes. Yeah.
But she's thrown that out of the window because of autism. She already knew how to do this. She's done it already. But because he has autism, because he stands when he poops, right? All the reasons.
Yeah.
that keep you stuck and that keep him stuck.
Yeah. I think
So-
it's my mindset.
Yes, yes. And when you realize this, and you're like, holy fuck, I'm like the gatekeeper to a life of like ultimate possibilities, better than I could ever dream of. And I've been stopping this. I don't want you to shit on yourself about it. I want you to say, let's fucking go now. Now I know what I gotta do.
Okay.
All right, so how we're gonna solve for this. What you did with your other stuff is you just did a lot of reps of that. And you were like folding him in half. It's hysterical, right? I don't want you to do that. He's just got some potty phobia. We just got to get him used to sitting. Get him comfortable sitting. Hey, sitting's fun. Hey, when I sit, I get a cookie. I get a Hershey Kiss. I get an M&M, whatever, right? Then I want you to pull out the big guns. So I love hygiene. It's like, let the psychological warfare begin. Okay. If you pee on the potty, you get like something nice, right? Because he's doing that. He's doing such a good job. I want to always pair going into the bathroom with like Disney World. Go in here. It's going to be fun. I'm going to get something when I come in here, right? So you're going to come up with a reward for peeing, something cool, whatever, right? Then you're going to come up with a reward for sitting, something cool. I always say 10 times yes. Well, all we're asking him to do is sit right now. I want him to get up to sitting 3 to 5 minutes neutrally.
Okay.
Okay. Then I want you to think about pulling out the big guns. What would he do anything to have access to?
Food, muffins.
Muffins. So let's say you got a whole container of all of these little muffins and you put them in a clear jar and you say, guess what, baby? These are all yours. All you have to do, shit in the toilet.
So do I kind of like show it to him, but we're not actually giving it to him?
That's right. You're not giving it to him
on the toilet, right? Okay.
That's right. Like imagine like how excited he's going to get when he sees them. It's got to be a 10. Whatever you're picking, it's got to be a 10. If those muffins are 7 or 8, it's not going to land. It's got to be a 10.
All right, maybe a lollipop.
There you go. Get a whole bowl. Get one of them 2-pound bags of dum-dums, right?
Yeah.
All right. And then guess what? These are all your lollipops. You get one every time you shit in the toilet.
Okay.
All right. Now,
All
on top of that, the only thing you're going to do is use your toilet training data sheet. You're going to take data on when he goes, what times of day, what does it look like? And here's another thing too. You see him going. I don't want you to force him until we've got him neutral on the potty. But then once you see him going, you're going to take him. And he's going to not go. You're going to put the diaper. First off, I don't even know why he's wearing diapers anymore. He's got to be on underwear. Full fucking commitment, mommy. Not tipping the toe in. We're full commitment. No, diapers are gone. I'm not going to make it easy for you and comfortable for you to take a shit in your pants. I want you to see like doing it here.
Oh boy. Okay. Oh boy. He's not 3 yet. But okay.
What?
Pull-ups though. We bought pull-ups, but we haven't done that.
Turn them. It's for underwear.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, we can try it on the weekends because he's in daycare all day.
Watch your pearls. Oh my gosh. In daycare, there's situations, right? There's situationships here in the sense of like, if he's pee trained and he's pee trained at daycare, he goes in with changes of clothes. He will shit that toilet one way or another. What I would do is take my data, do it over a weekend, see why you come out, and then you let daycare know this is what we're doing.
Okay. Okay.
I'm a little in your face. I hope you can appreciate this. What gets done. All right.
That's what I like.
All right. Was this helpful?
Yes, very. Thank you, Michelle.
No problem. Keep me posted. I want to hear all about this baby officially potty trained. All right, bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, we're going to take one more and then we're going to wrap. I have to do this one fast because we got to close at 12 o'clock. Cassandra, promoted to panelist. This is what we do. I do this all day long in the master class. You're struggling, I got you. We do these types of ahas every fucking day in here. It's hysterical. And every week I hear wins. Michelle, guess what? He pooped. Michelle, guess what? We're potty trained. This is what I want for you guys. Hi, Cassandra. Unmute yourself, honey. Hi, Cassandra. I can hear you. Cassandra.
Now?
Hi, yes, I can hear you.
Okay, sorry, my headphones were stupid.
No, is today helpful for you?
Yes. We've been reluctant to try the underwear thing. I'm actually literally currently doing it.
Okay, good.
A lot of his is behavioral.
Okay.
And I'm also a special ed teacher, so that was another obstacle we hit this year is I had to be a special ed teacher.
Okay.
And then there's a lot of behavioral, like I said in the chat, he's about to start ABA therapy full-time here soon. And he
How
will
old is he?
pee. He's 7.
7, and he'll pee in the potty?
He will fully pee in the potty, but there's also times where he'll only partially pee, and then again we're putting pull-ups on him. But then he'll go and pee the rest of it in the pull-up. So part of the problem
So we're getting rid of that problem, right? By getting rid of the pull-ups. That
Yep.
shit's over. Yeah, okay. And does he stand to pee?
Nope, he sits to pee.
Okay, got it. All right. So if you ask him to sit for poop, which is the problem, is that what you want to talk about?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. If you ask him to sit, will he sit for 3 to 5 minutes or he pops right back up?
Even longer than that sometimes.
All right. So I just want to be clear. So anytime you ask him to sit, if you ask him 5 times a day, like every other hour, you ask him to sit, he'll sit for 3 to 5 minutes and then come back up, no problem.
Yeah, but then we put the pull-up back on, so I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, no, I think that's the part of it.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So I guess like hearing, what did you say, honey?
You're gonna hear my daughter in the background, sorry.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. So what do you think the problem is now that you've heard me talk and coach?
That we're allowing the pull-ups to go back on.
And that's what he's banking on.
Uh-huh.
Like, oh, okay,
I agree.
I'm not gonna, I'll do whatever the fuck I want. I'm Boy King over here because she's just gonna put the pull-up, get rewarded now for peeing in the toilet.
Not for peeing, no. And unfortunately his only reward is food, and we believe he has that condition where he does not know when to stop eating because he would literally eat 24/7. So we're also going through that. So it's hard to make food the reward.
We've had a couple of children through the program with like Will's Prater. I forgot what the name of it, the syndrome is, where they have like those tons of appetites, but his desire to eat is a tool for you, not a hindrance.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I can control what I give him and how much of it I give. And it's conditioning him, right? So if he desires it that much, people see this as a problem. Like with a child that has an appetite that can't be squashed, this is actually a really amazing tool. I can see it as a problem, right? This is where the thought work comes in. Oh, he's got this problem, so I can't use food as the reinforcement. Well, why?
Okay.
He's going to have the desire anyway, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what if I could teach him that, you can have food in exchange for a behavior that I want. I want you to do it over and over again. Now you're going to have kids that are going to milk the system. So we had a kid that would pee for M&Ms. And then after a while, mom would see what you saw where he'd kick the hose. And because he knew, kick the hose, she'd give him the M&Ms and he'd go back in 5 minutes later and then he'd finish, right? Just because he knew I can milk the system this way. After you get some reps, like a couple of days of good reps, peeing and pooping, then you can say, okay, even if I know he's milking the system, I'm going to tell him, no, you got to empty the tank. So now they're going to know the jig is up.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So if he's willing to sit, if he's food motivated, right now he goes pee on the toilet because, sometimes it works for me and then sometimes it doesn't. I got to make it work for him all the time. That means I create a world where shitting my pants or pissing my pants sucks, because if I pee my pants, I got to stop what I'm doing. I got to help mommy clean it up. I got to clean myself up. I got to put new underwears on. Right?
Yep.
So I can create a negative reinforcement in the accident. And then, but I could also say, oh, when you do it in the toilet, it's so much better. I'm pairing it with nothing but positives. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe he'll get a little something for pee and then he gets something nicer for poop.
Yeah.
And yes, we don't dip our toe in the potty pool. We are fucking full submersion. That means that you are returning your pull-ups as well.
Fair enough.
Is this helpful?
Yes, it is.
All right, awesome. Well, you keep me posted. I want to know when that baby's potty trained.
Will do.
All right, I'll talk to you soon. All right, that's it for the Potty Power Workshop. If you loved what you heard today, this is what I do in the masterclass. We have a 100% success rate for potty training, meaning you join this program, you come out with a potty trained child, or I will give you your money back. It is an action back guarantee. You come to my call. Just come to one call a week. You can't make them all. The more calls you make, not only is it going to help you with potty training, it's going to help you to feel better. It's going to help you with all aspects of parenting a child with autism. But you come to just one call a week with me, and you come out with a potty trained child, or I will give you your money back. So this is what it's all about. You have those 2 bonuses. We have 3 bonuses, $500 off the program, 5 months in the program instead of 3. You're going to get 2 private sessions, one with myself and one of my BCBAs. And yeah, if you join tonight, you're going to get all of those bonuses. You have until midnight tonight. I apologize, I didn't get to all the questions. Let me just answer a few real quick before we wrap. What do I do if he is afraid of the toilet? If he is afraid, that's potty phobia. So we want to make sure we're practicing sitting. And this is a great way for a child that's got a lot of energy, that you feel like, oh, because he runs around the room and he's in his own world, I can't potty train him. This is how you teach instructional control. Give him a little reward for sitting. Start him with a time that you know he can do easy, like with on his head, like, oh, he can totally sit for 10 seconds, no problem. And you start and you reward. And then every hour I would do it, every couple of hours, depends on how motivated you are and the time you have to get this done. I've seen parents go from the kid that won't sit at all to completely sitting for 3 to 5 minutes after a couple of days. So I hope that's helpful, Stephanie. Okay, let's see what other questions we have here. My son is 10. He's able to do the bathroom when we send him every hour and a half. We've tried to leave him without a diaper to get him to go without a prompt, but he'll just wet himself and it won't bother him. So I want to know here, what is the reward for going throughout the whole potty training process until they're 100% on their own, meaning they could tell you when they need to go, or they could just go on their own. You have to be, the rewards still have to be in play. I'd need more information on this to be able to give you more support. Okay, we'll do our last question, and then I will try and answer these. You guys can send me an email to michelle@michellebrodgers.com. I'm happy to help you answer questions there, but this is what we do all the time in the masterclass. Okay, really quickly from Ruth, my grandson is 5. He is trained and does do pee in the toilet, but he will not poop. He's done it only once or twice. I think he's scared to, right? Wow, a lot of potophobia going on in here. Guys, you just got to get them neutral to doing to sitting on the toilet first, and then we can potty train. All right, so that's it for Potty Power. I hope this was helpful. I want you guys, if you're nervous, but anything I said connects, like, God, Michelle, if I could do this with anybody, it's Michelle, join me. If you're, just give yourself the gift of a decision today. Join us by midnight, you get those bonuses, and let's start rocking it out immediately to help your baby. I hope today was helpful. Talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.